Let's have some fun making our own DIY mineral makeup using the eyeshadow and blush palette kit from Simply Earth. I was gifted this kit from Simply Earth to test out and show you all just how easy it is to create your own makeup. This is the DIY blush and eyeshadow palette kit, and it comes with everything you need to make 4 eyeshadows, 1 blush, and a glow balm that can be used as a primer or just to add a little highlight to your face. It comes with this compact and it's magnetic, so all these little metal tins will just go right in there and stay in place. Okay, so I made the DIY blush palette and I thought I was recording, but apparently my camera glitched out. But this was the blush that I made. I made the pressed blush. I'm going to give it a few spritz of rubbing alcohol and press it a little more. You could also just add a couple more drops of almond oil. But since I already have it in here, I'm going to try the rubbing alcohol instead. I made the shade Pink Punch, which is a strawberry pink. It's really pretty. And now we're going to make eyeshadows. I do recommend using a tray, maybe even wearing an apron. You could wear gloves if you want because the pigments do stain. I washed my bowl and it just took a little castile soap to really wash that out and get the color out of it. But it may stain your clothes, so you just want to be really careful. You can still see there's a little pink on my tray and there's some on my little mat too. But now we're going to work on the eyeshadow palette. And this calls for 1 teaspoon of the Simply Earth DIY Mineral Makeup Base. And it will come inside a bag in this bag. So we need 1 teaspoon of that. I'll find my teaspoon because I don't know where I put it. Okay, 1 teaspoon of the mineral base makeup. 1 teaspoon of the mineral makeup base. There's different shades on the back that you can choose to make. Once you choose the shade that you like, you blend your mineral makeup base, your pigments or micas, and you can use a silicone spatula, a mortar, or a designated DIY coffee grinder. I do have one of those, but today we're just going to grind it ourselves in this little bowl. And I'm going to make... They have Earth Tone series with 4 different shades you can make and a Bold and Vibrant series with 4. The Earth Tone series has Sand, which is a cool dusty beige, Mountain, which is a pale cool gray, Forest, a strong cool green, or Deep Water, which is a deep warm color with brown iron oxide and blue ultramarine. In the Bold and Vibrant series, there is a Gold Sunshine that's a yellow, bright, sparkly golden yellow. Again, the Forest, a strong, cool green, and the Deep Water. And then they also have the Mountain. So the only different in the Bold and Vibrant series is the Gold Sunshine in place of the Sand. I think I want to make the Earth Tone series, so we're going to do that today. And the first one we're going to make is Sand. It's a cool dusty beige, and the only thing you add to it is 1 32nd teaspoon of yellow iron oxide. So I like to use these little tiny spatulas, and I think I'm going to use one of these and just use half of it just to see what color we come out with. Yellow iron oxide. That is this. So I'm just kind of guessing here. I really don't know, but because I don't have my little tiny measuring spoons, we packed up some things and all of my stuff is missing. So we're just going to guess maybe about half of this. And if I want to add more, I can add more. But we'll see what that looks like. It definitely gave it a little bit of an off-white tint. We'll add a little more. Half at a time until I get the color that I want. And that's a good thing about this makeup kit. You customize it to what you want. If you want blue or purple or green or orange, whatever color eyeshadow you want, black, yellow, it doesn't matter. There's plenty of these mica powders and pigments, and you can just customize to your little heart's desire. Now, the thing about these eyeshadows, it might look like one color once it's pressed in here. So give it a little swatch and see, because I don't know if you can tell, but that's definitely not plain white. It has a little bit of color to it. We'll swatch it a little darker so you can see. I really like that. It's probably a little bit lighter than a dusty beige, sort of more of a pearlescent color. I really like that. I'm happy with that. So we're going to leave it at that. I'm going to make it a pressed powder. So I'm going to add 1/8 teaspoon of almond oil and then mix it and then press it into my eyeshadow tin. If it's not pressed as much as I would like, then I can add a little bit more, a drop at a time of the almond oil. But we're going to start with 1/4 teaspoon. The almond oil comes in your kit. I'm going to use this end to go in and mix that in. You can also make a cream eyeshadow, and if you want to make it a cream one, you're gonna melt almond oil, mango butter, and cetyl alcohol together, and those all come in your kit too. And then when they're melted, you can add essential oil and stir it. But I really like the pressed eyeshadows, so we're gonna do that. This will be somewhere between a pressed and a cream because I'm at a little bit more almond oil. Just a couple drops. I'll stir that together. And you can see it's starting to press together on here. And if you get it too wet, it's no problem. Just put it in your container and let it dry for a few hours, maybe even a couple days. And you can see the color of it more on here as it's gotten pressed in. Okay, so now we're going to put it in our little now we're going to put it in our little tin. still a little looser than I would like. So I think I'm going to add a little bit more almond oil and then press it in. Just a couple drops. Or four drops. There's my first eyeshadow. It's a little messy, but I'm happy with the color. So the next color that we're going to make is Forest, and that's a strong, cool green. I don't need any more of the yellow for yellow, so we'll put that up. And we need chromium oxide green. Green chromium. And brown iron oxide. That's red. There's the brown. So, since it's just going to go from a beige to a green, I'm just going to use the same little bowl. And I'm not going to worry about wiping it out because maybe we'll get something slightly different, and that's fine too. 1 teaspoon of the makeup base. And 1/8 teaspoon of chromium green. And 1/32 of the brown. I spilled most of that, so I don't think much of that made it in there. That's okay. We'll see what we come up with. Let's see here. Looking for a strong, cool green. Okay, so now I'm going to add our almond oil. Most of my brown ended up in my measuring spoon, I think. That's okay. And you'll see this change. We're going to add a little bit more than a 1/4 teaspoon because it's not wanting to pack down for me. That's a really pretty green. Swatch it here. Oh yeah, that's really pretty. Lovely. Really want to get that oil mixed in. A coffee grinder does work a lot better for this, in my opinion. But I wanted to try it with this today and just see what we could do. We'll try to go in with the big end, see if we can press it in good. This is what I should have done with the beige, but I wanted to just see if we could just get it by blending it. But you really want to mix and press to get it mixed in good. Get that oil really incorporated in there to make it more of a pressed powder. But you learn as you go. And I've made several eyeshadows, but I usually just do the loose. So now we know. Got a little tin. And if you all have any tips on how to make this better, like how to more easily make a pressed eyeshadow, please leave comments below. I'm learning as I go, so any help you want to give is greatly appreciated. Oh yeah, that worked much better. Oh, there. There's the green. Very pretty. Okay, so it is messy, but soap and water is all it takes to clean it up. So now we're going to make Mountain, which is a pale cool gray. We need black iron oxide and the brown iron oxide that I had out earlier. Black and brown. And I always start with just 1 teaspoon of the mineral makeup base. I love mineral makeup. It makes my skin feel so good. I love the way it goes on. I love the way it makes the skin feel. I really, really, really love mineral makeup. So that's what I always choose to wear. My foundation is mineral makeup, homemade, using the mineral makeup base from Simply Earth, and iron oxides. My eyeshadow, my blush, which I've been making eyeshadow for a while, but like I said, I always did the loose. I hadn't done the pressed really, so I hadn't mastered that yet. I tried it once or twice, but I was always in such a hurry, so I never really got it down pat. But I think this time I figured out what I need to do. Just need to really get in there and really mix it really well. So we're going to start with the mineral makeup base. And this calls for 1/8 teaspoon each of black and brown iron oxides. So we're just going to use our little tiny spoon. And And I'm just estimating here about 1/8 of a teaspoon. I may have too much, I may have too little. But that's the good thing about making your own eyeshadows. It doesn't have to be exact. But what I do recommend, if you're not following a recipe or loosely following a recipe like I am today, write down what you use. If you don't have exact measurements and you know that you use this little tiny spoon, like today I'm using 1.5 of each, write that down. I will write on my card that I use this little spoon and used 1.5 of each color. That way if I love it and I want to go back and remake it, then I know exactly how I did it. So keep notes, keep recipe cards, whatever, but that way you can just keep up with what you've done. So I'm going to do like I did the last time. I'm going to mix the powders in with the opposite end, the little short end. Okay. Then I'm going to add my almond oil and then go back in with the end you're supposed to use and actually mix it all together. And I had done not quite a half. And then we're going to really mix and press. So get it mixed and then start pressing. And I use my mortar often, but I thought where this was such a fine powder that maybe I didn't need to really get in there and press and grind with it. But I do, so live and learn, I guess. And normally I use this, but it has such a flat bottom to it that I thought this bowl would be easier, and it actually is a little easier. So another little tip. I could have used my bigger one, but I'm making such a small amount of this, I didn't want to dirty up such a big bowl. Okay. Ooh, that's pretty too. Let's see what that looks like. Very nice. Very pretty. I keep losing my spoon. Very nice. So now we'll get our third container. And I'm going to have to clean these up because I'm a mess and I'm messy. And then one day I didn't bring any paper towels in my little studio. I've got to get this room complete so that when I make videos, I'm not always lacking something. But anyway, this is the Mountain, a very pretty pale cool gray. Very, very pretty color. Press that down a little more and let it dry later. And then I have one more tin. Have one more eyeshadow tin. So now we're going to make deep water, and that is just a deep warm color using brown iron oxide and blue ultramarine. Okay, I just wiped it all off with a paper towel so we could keep going. I have it all over me, but that's okay. Soap and water will take that off. So once again, we're going to start with 1 teaspoon of our mineral makeup base. And we need 1/16 of a teaspoon of brown iron oxide. And I'm just following this recipe loosely, so we're just going to kind of eyeball it like before. And we need 1/8 teaspoon of the blue ultramarine. See what that gives us. Haven't added my oil yet, but the blue is not wanting to mix as well. So I'm going to go back in with the big end. Kind of grind that some. Ooh, that's pretty. So now we want just a little more than 1/4 of a teaspoon of almond oil. See how that looks. I'm going to swatch that. I may add a little more almond oil, but I'm going to see. Oh, that's so pretty. Let me add a little more almond oil because this didn't mix in quite as well as the last one. Just going to add a couple drops in there. I think maybe three drops, and then mix again. I'm so messy. This is why I highly recommend using a tray. If you're like me and you always make a mess, or a mess just always seems to find you, like Pigpen from Charlie Brown, use a tray, wear an apron, maybe even wear gloves because I'm covered in makeup. That's okay, it's fun. Loosen that up. Now let's see. Okay. I'm going to go in with my whisk because I think it's still not getting that blue mixed in good. And a couple more drops. Oh, that's pretty. That's really pretty. Okay, so I'm gonna put that in my little tin. And there you go. Covered in oil, I'm covered in eyeshadow. So I'll go clean up and then I'll be back to show you my creations. And then we are going to make a moisturizing glow balm. For this one, I melted mango butter, cetyl alcohol, and almond oil. I just did it in short intervals in the microwave. You can also do this on a double boiler if you don't like to use a microwave. So I've got that melted together. And now I'm going to add my essential oils. Take it off here. It calls for 2 drops of Resilience essential oil. And when I was making my blush, I was going to add the Beauty Within, and I just forgot to do that. So you can add that to your blush. But for the Glow Balm, it calls for 2 drops of this Resilience essential oil blend. Resilience is whole wood, frankincense, black spruce, and blue tansy. I have never used anything with blue tansy, so I'm kind of excited to try that. So this is melted, but has cooled down a little, so I can add my essential oils. I do know that blue tansy is blue, and it is a little messy, so you just want to be careful when working with that. Oh, it smells really, really good. And mix that. And it's not going to make your product be blue on your skin. It just has the slightest tint, it looks like. Okay, now that I got my essential oil stirred in, I'm also going to add this Pearl Mica powder. And I'm going to use a whisk for that. .1/32, so I'm just kind of estimating with this little tiny spoon. This will just add a little bit of highlight to the skin. I think it's going to be really pretty. It just gives it just the slightest shimmer. It's really pretty. And we'll add that to our other large tin, and let it cool. Give it one last little whisk before I put it in here. Y'all, I can't tell you how good that smells. That smells so nice. It's already hardened up a little on the edge. So you can see, doesn't add any color, just a little shimmer. Oh, that's so pretty. It says, spreading the balm around will likely cause temporary redness in the skin, which will subside within a few minutes. This balm is a great base for your DIY makeup. So, this is just going to make like a really nice base primer. Put that on first, and then do your makeup over top, and it'll help it sort of adhere to your skin and stay in place all day. I'm going to let this cool, and then I'll come back and show you pictures of my DIY Glow Balm, DIY eyeshadows, and my DIY blush. I'm really excited to see how this looks. Again, I just follow these recipes loosely. I didn't do exact measurements, but you can do that. You can do exact measurements. You can do like I did and just kind of play around a little bit and kind of estimate your measurements. Or you can create something totally different. Customize it how you want. The main thing to remember is when using these little tins, you use 1 teaspoon of the mineral 1 teaspoon of the mineral makeup base, and also for the blush palette you use 1 teaspoon. So here's my blush, and here are my eyeshadows. This one is still pretty loose, so I might go back and add a little something to that to make it not be so loose. But I'm really happy with the colors, so they're probably fine just how they are. I don't mind a loose eyeshadow. I just prefer a pressed, but loose is of course great too. These are really pretty. I can't wait to use these. If you'd like to save 10% on your Simply Earth DIY kit, be sure to click the link and use the code in the description box below. If you like this content and you want to see more videos like this, be sure to like and subscribe. If you have any tips or advice for how to create DIY eyeshadow or blush using the DIY Simply Earth makeup kits, leave a comment below. As always, I'm Crystal Martin. This is Cinnamon Hollow. Thanks for watching.